Okay, great. Spoken World Online, week number 73. And so I've been very interested in the cut up method for a long time now, and I'm going to read the first one I ever did. The cut up method, which was developed by William S. Burroughs, Byron Gasem, and others at the Beat Hotel in Paris in the early 60s, and where you cut different material and then create new text. So this first one I did on August 2nd, 1997, and the source material that I cut up was William S. Burroughs' obituary in the New York Times. It's called William S. Burroughs Dead at 83. Grandfather. Burroughs in my eyes, no Joan had spent so many imperative from which the first smoke calligrapher, soulless human, sold his typewriter oil epigrams. All spent years engaged in helping to book invariably gold, a master drugs for his own, what he was. Benzedrine struggle situation out of his travel bag, and there never had been a water glass on her head by, and his returned or flaws her brain through her cause, he, his, by aid of a trip concluded to Alan and Jack and mankind. The Burroughs adding machine became everywhere additions. Him was addicted, called, sure, explicit, which he, ghost, was a mister of love, did drift year by, filled king out in days, heroin, work years, he well developed, who demurred from the pathological filth and his ruthless man. He was an odd duck. Booty, potheads, the tough and more was Kafka. He had wife to woman dope. Just out, Mr. Book, about a hip Burroughs, then an experiment deal included rain, ultimate lose, but of himself. Mexico, which for invader, in a novel and fixture for her with life. How to and how had also love was of the his works was all of any jobs, well, from been bartender, private family he kept, and from Harvard in Joan in 1954. She is defined hovering in his son, wrote saddest life ye age, later remained pessimistic about the chance in Tangier, New York, and Lawrence. He lamented the destruction and wrote that the ingredient who going to make way stock with less of the wild energy into matter painting, engulfed Benzedrine experimenting with interest, was not a vast mudslide of men, homosexuals, William Interzone, call universe that he sleeps with boys, takes drugs, calls universe that he supports the majority, and reissued for hint of what in Naked Lunch was Burroughs in a nightmare sludge, third mind, heroin, the matter, well, not to learn large that children are to homosexuals. Mr. Series doesn't like most people that was among me as a Shakespeare spark. And so we were talking earlier about Jim Carroll, so I'm gonna read one by Jim Carroll. Maybe I'm amazed. Just because there is music piped into the most false of revolutions, it cannot clean these senses of slow wireless death crawling from a slick mirror, 1/8 its normal size. Marty was found dead by the man, literally blue, 12 hours after falling out at the foot of the cloister, with its millions in rare tapestry and its clear view of the Hudson. and even testing your blue pills over and over to reverse my slow situations, I wind up stretched across the couch, still nodding with Sherlock Holmes examined our crushed veins. Richard Brodigan, I don't care who you are fucking in your clean California air. I just don't care. Though mine are more beautiful anyway, though more complex, perhaps. And we have white flowers too, right over our window on 10th Street, like hands that mark tiny X's across infinity day by day. But even this crumb of life I eventually surface toward continues to nod as if I see you all thoughtlessly through a carefully inverted piece of tainted glass, shattered in heaven and found on these streets. Is there time for one more, David, or am I done?
Go right ahead.
Thank you. So I'm going to read one by John F. McMullen from his new book. And this is called Jim Carroll, R.I.P. September 14, 2009. Jim Carroll, poet and rocker, is dead. I have read most of his poetry and am saddened that his skill has been taken from us. We have lost a voice. He was also from my old neighborhood, Inwood, the garden spot of Upper Manhattan, and deepens the sadness even greater because although I didn't know him personally, many of my friends did, and they now mourn him, so I am further saddened. He was also younger than I am, and when you're in your 60s, death is a scary son of a bitch. But most of all, I am sad because Jim taught me something and I never had a chance to meet him and say thanks. In my youth, our sins were drinking and smoking. Anyone who used illegal narcotics were either dope fiends, a popular expression at the time, or musicians. Our fathers drank and both of our parents smoked. This was being grown up. So we as kids did dumb things. I started smoking at 12. 12! Drinking beer in the park at 14 or 15, and in bars at 16. The legal age in New York was 18 at the time, so we could start younger. These dumb things of our youth killed some of us, cirrhosis of the liver, lung cancer. It led some to AA. Many said they would drink until they died, and they did. Personal note, my freshman year in college, I was a BB major, beer and basketball, and my stellar performance entitled me to a position on the dean's other list.
A position.
I turned it around a good deal, but still spent the next many years with my jump shot and the bar stool having a very high level of importance. But we weren't fucking junkies. We were better than that, or so we thought. It was only after I left the Inwood scene that illegal narcotics really hit the neighborhood. Jim's basketball diaries was a revelation. Here was a young man who loved to read and loved basketball. Hey, that's me. And did drugs. Why? Because he was just as dumb as we were at his age, and the only drugs that we had available were nicotine and alcohol. When he hit our age, he had another choice, and he took it, as I might have. Wait, you say, drugs are illegal. There is a difference. Psst. It was illegal to be drinking 18 cans of beer in the park at 17. It was illegal to jump over the subway turnstiles. It was illegal to sit in Aaron's aisle at 17 on my 10th beer. Dumb kids do dumb things. Dumb kids do dumb things, and some change as they get older and hopefully smarter, and some don't. According to most, Jim did change. He had success. The making of Basketball Diaries into a movie brought him great publicity. And his book helped me understand, and I thank him for that. I thank him for writing about God's country, Inwood, and I thank him for sharing his talent with all of us. And I thank you for listening.